Hello, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. I'm super excited to talk about very important topic today. So last week I was at Microsoft Ignite, and there were so many great updates or announcements made. And one of them is related to Azure AI Foundry, or new name Microsoft Foundry. So this includes, for example, brand new UI, workflows, knowledge, Foundry IQ, memory, and so on. So I'll try to explore these updates with you. If I miss anything, please feel free to mention that in the comments. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them as well. Without further ado, let's get started. So here I am in the new UI experience for Microsoft Foundry, or previously known as Azure AI Foundry. So let's start from the top. So you see the name change here, and it's currently in preview. If you want to see the old version, you can just simply toggle off and let's select continue without feedback. And you can see this is the old experience. So you would have model catalog, playgrounds, etc. And the name changes here actually. So it's not called Azure AI Foundry anymore. So let's toggle this on again and let's explore the new UI. So from the top, you can see this is my current project. It says Project Suka. And if I click this, I can navigate to other projects that I have, view all projects, create a new project. But if you're curious, hey, we used to have AI Hub, where is that? So you can just simply click view all resources. Now there is a new change here. Let me see, like create new, and you will see Microsoft Foundry resource. This is basically replacing the Foundry tools. So now this is recommended. So it says unified setup, management, and access to agents, models, and tools. All new capabilities will be introduced through this resource. So this is the basically main resource type you would create if you want to develop LLM based agents. But if you want like more advanced scenarios like custom machine learning training, open source model hosting, fine tuning, or Azure machine learning integration, then you would use AI Hub resource. All right, let's go back again. So from here, we can create the founder resource again, and then within founder resource we can create multiple projects, and in every project we can create different agents, add different knowledge sources, etc. So to see the hierarchy, let's go to the official documentation. So as you can see, first of all, you would need to have Azure subscription. Within that, you would create resource group, then Foundry resource. And within that resource, you would have projects, and every project can have agents, testing, evaluations, etc. And as you can see, there is also a different permission level for each area. So let's go back again. So what you see from the top basically welcomes the developer and start building. You can create agents and design workflows. The workflows, this is a new concept in Foundry. So basically, you can create sequential workflows and tie different agents, add different logic, if else statements, etc. I'm going to show that to you in a bit, but this is a new capability. So project endpoint and project API key, you can easily find this information from the main page. The reason this is very important because when you connect your project with the client app, you would need these two most important information. So other updates, you will see Anthropic models are are landed in the Foundry, and your recent work will be here. And if you scroll down, coding quick start, you can actually copy these all the code and open that in VS Code for the web, or you can open that in desktop and start playing with that. If you scroll down, you have access to docs, documentations. It's actually within the Foundry, which is really great. Then GitHub resources and Discord. If you want to see if you have questions, you can go to Discord community and ask your questions. So let me scroll up. Another capability here I noticed is the AI feature. So you can actually start asking different questions. For example, so it already knows that I am in the US East 2, and here are the available models for me, and here are the documentation and how it gets access to it. So I can actually change that. If I go to system access, I can say like you can have access to everything or no actions, manual approval, data access, etc. You can configure this as well. But you will see this comes very handy if you specifically work on the evaluations. So you can filter them, but you can also chat with the AI to ask questions. Let me close this. So if I come to discover, so you can see all the models available, like featured models like OpenAI or Anthropic, etc. And another one here is model router. Yes, you can use this right away. So if I click, so what does this mean? If you use this during the runtime, AI the agent will choose the right LLM based on the task that it's given to it. So let me come back here, and you can again like deploy this to your agents as well. Let's click discover. So you can see all the models here, and you can see collections like direct from Azure or Foundry Labs, capabilities like agent supported, fine tuning, function calling, image, etc. And you can look at the reasoning as well. Source, like what are the different vendors, and you can select from this vendor list. Inference tasks, and you can see all the capabilities here like question answering, re-rank, responses, fine-tuning models are also available here. So let me scroll up, and you can search or you can sort by. And as you can see, there are more than 11,000 models available right now. So you can look at the VIA leaderboard or compare models. If you click compare models, and as you can see, this is GPT-5, GPT-4o, Grok. So you can change the model, and you will be able to see benchmark for each of these ones. And if you want, you can actually go ahead and deploy them. So let's go to tools. On the tools section, now we have more than 1,400 tools available. This can be custom, this can be MCP remote or MCP local. So you can see and choose different tools from these library. And solution templates, I believe this is like ready-made templates you can use. So let's go back to build. If I go to build section, now I can see a list of all the agents that I built within this project. So if I select different project, of course, this will change. So on the left navigation pane, I can see a list of agents. I can see workflows, as I mentioned. I can see models that I have deployed for this project. I can see like fine tuning that I have done. I haven't done anything here. Tools available, any tool that I have, like let's say I use Microsoft Learn, Azure AI Search, etc. Knowledge that I have. Let's talk about Foundry IQ because this was announced during Microsoft Ignite. And Foundry IQ, Microsoft defines a unified knowledge layer for agents. So it actually uses Azure AI Search. So historically, let's say when we build agents, for each agent, we needed to define knowledge bases, RAG, etc. Now, basically, whenever you build agents, you will be able to connect them. And it uses Azure AI Search, but more specifically, Agentic Retrieval. So Here is the documentation. Agentic retrieval is a little bit different because it uses multi-query pipeline. So if we look at the process here, let's say user initiates the chat and provides a prompt. So that basically kicks off the workflow. Agent takes that information and the query planning starts. So a knowledge base sends your query and conversation history to an LLM, which analyzes the context and breaks down complex questions into focused subqueries. So this is really great because you can see like using the conversation history from context, correct spelling is in context, like let's say you have a fuzzy logic, decompose queries as needed, and paraphrase queries. So then you have a query execution. So the knowledge base sends the subqueries to your knowledge sources. All subqueries can run simultaneously and can be keyboard, let's say the text, a vector, a numerical representation of the text, or hybrid search. Each subquery undergoes semantic re-ranking to find the most relevant matches. So at the end, results synthesis. So the system combines all results into a unified response with the three parts: merged content, source references, and execution details. So this is what Foundry uses here. So if I click create a new page, I can select from Azure AI Search Index, Azure Blob, Web, etc. So if I go to data layer, you can see these the different files, data sets that I have. You can actually create synthetic data as well. So you can just click generate data. You can upload a file and this will generate synthetic data. So evaluations, evaluator catalog, you can see you can have different evaluators here like intent resolution, retrieval evaluator, etc. And if you want, you can create your own, like you can provide these details, code based, prompt based, etc. And guardrails, when you actually build, you will have Microsoft default guardrail by default, but if you want, you can create your own guardrail as well. And during the agent creation process, you can select either like default. By the way, like default is already pre-selected, but you can create your own guardrail and select that. So let's go back to agents now. So creating agents, you can create either from here, or you can just simply come back to the welcome screen and start building, create agent. And this time, let's say AI exam prep agent. I can just click create. So as you can see, these are some of the models I already deployed to this project, and I can select ones that I want, like GPT-4o Mini, Model Router, etc. And if you want, you can browse more models and deploy it here. So here, this is actually very similar to the previous experience as well as instructions in the Copilot. Let's extend this. I have already instructions here. I'm just going to paste it here. You are an AI assistant designed to help users prepare for Microsoft certification, and I would provide some goals, behavior guidelines, capabilities, etc. So under the tools, I can actually add tool here. So this tool could be Microsoft Learn, Web Search, SharePoint, Code Interpreter. But if I want, I can just click Add a new tool. So in the configure tools, you will see these tools like the ones that you already pre-selected and some of the default ones. But you can go to Catalog, and let's say for this exam prep agent, I want to use Microsoft Learn. This is actually MCP. I'm just going to click Create, Connect. I can upload files. I can add other tools as well. So when it comes to knowledge, that's the interesting part, will be connect to Foundry IQ. And if you have anything in the knowledge area, you will be able to see it or set up a data source via tools. And tools here, again, if you go to catalog, you will be able to see all tools available here. So another important concept here, this is brand new memory. So we know that by default, agent memory falls into two categories. One is short memory, the other one is long memory. Short memory happens during the session. Let's say you are an agent, let's say Copilot Studio agent. Within a session, agent will be able to understand your context within that session to answer. But if you close that session and open that session, the previous details or context for agent gone. So you start from scratch. But Microsoft changed that. So we have a long-term memory, let's say our knowledge source that we use, system instructions, description of each tools, etc. But now Microsoft announced this capability, basically learning from the past interactions of the user, and then during the session to use those short-term memory. So by default, it's toggled on off. You can do this, and it says memory store. So I'm a little confused here. I don't know exactly where it's stored, but I found some documentation here. So create like manage memory in Foundry agent service. So as you can see, memory in Foundry agent service is managed, meaning that it's not by default. You have to provide that, and long-term memory solution. So let's say if we have a shopping agent and if we have a regular customer or client constantly shopping, the agent would basically take their context, and next time they use agent, they would have that context to use. And as I said, you would use scope parameter in your code, and I'm gonna show you some code samples here. So let's go to limitations and quotes. So currently memory works only with Azure OpenAI models. You must set the scope value explicitly. So currently the value can't be populated from the user identity specified in the request header, isn't supported yet. So if I scroll down, and by the way, prerequisites, Azure subscription, of course, that's how you use Foundry. Access to Microsoft Foundry. Then you would have a project. And also, this is very important, Azure AI user role needs to be assigned. You can do that in you can go to Azure portal, select the Foundry, select your project, and add this role. Chat model deployment, so GPT 4.1, an embedding model, and Python 3.8 or later versions. So, and to create a memory, so you would initialize the client and create a memory store, and then you would add memory. So if you come here, set the scope to associate the memories with, here is the scope. You can define the scope here, let's say Rafsan, and then you can actually search for memories by a query, and you can also update a memory store. Like let's say in Copilot, if you use M365 Copilot, you know that there is memory capability there. So it's not 100 memories, I believe it's 10 or 15. So you can constantly update that with the new information. But the key thing here, we will have this capability. But I hope that's the right documentation. So the guardrail I mentioned here, so manage guardrails. So you can assign new guardrail or create a new guardrail. So if you click assign new guardrail, so you see like Microsoft default V2, these are the ones, and the guardrails 443, this is the one that I created, but you can create your own and assign them as well. So in the chat experience, you can see this is the playground, this is the chat. I can simply ask, what are the typical exam questions for AI 102? So you can see common question. It's just using that MCP, and you can see the model that it used, how long it took, token usage, AI quality, and you can debug it from here. This debugging, like, it's not new. It was part of the previous model as well. So input output. So you can see user input. This is my input, and here is the output. and you can see the metadata. This is a JSON, and you can see the evaluation like coherence, fluency, intent resolution, task adherence, and you can see the tools that used here. So the tool that obviously we had in our toolset was the MCP, and that's what it used. All right, let me close this, but if you want, you can have this open in YAML, and if you want, you can have this open in code, and if you want, you can actually open this in VS Code Web. So when you open this first time, you might need to deploy the model. It takes a little bit time, so we will come back here. So, and when you create this, of course, you need to save this. And every time you update and save it, it creates a new version. So you can delete the versions, you can show all versions and compare versions. And let's go back to chat. We have metrics here, and you can see, you can select the metrics. And if I come to configuration, this is a familiar configuration like you would use in Copilot Studio or M365 Copilot. So let's go to here, let's say AI exam agent. And starter prompts, we can say, well, you can add one more. So I don't see like in Copilot Studio or M365 Copilot declarative agents, you can add up to 6 starter prompts, but here I see only 3. So apply change. So if I click new, so you can see this applies here right away. And we can actually open this in preview mode. We need to save. And here we go, we can leverage this as well. So if I come back here, let's go to Visual Studio. So here is the run Python. I just start a new terminal. I can say so. And as you can see, you can interact with the agent here as well. So let's go back, and really great update here. If you want to publish, you can just come to publish agent, and you will be able to publish this agent to publish to Teams and Copilot. Let me close this again, and you can see this is the available option now. I can publish to Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot. So what happens when you publish it? So we can define the scope if we just want to share with with ourselves or publish to our own Copilot store. So this is the shared scope. You will be able to see that in your agent section, but you can also share this with your organization. And of course, your admin needs to approve this in Microsoft 365 Admin Center. It's a familiar process because that's what would you do in Copilot Studio as well. So, and as you can see, this is actually very simple to build and deploy. And traces, you can see traces here. Like let's say we had just one interaction, it's completed, it would provide duration, token usage, like how many tokens it got, like we provided, how many tokens in the output, estimated cost. So if I click monitor, I can see the evaluations here, like operational metrics. Let me actually go back and find the ones that I used. So AI exam agent, let me open this. Traces. So you can see in the traces like all these conversations that I had. If I go to monitor, you can see operational metrics like total tokens usage. That's actually basically the cost, evaluations, scheduled evaluations. So if I come here, I can actually start interacting with the agent. Let me start new. I can say how many agent runs do we have? I mean, you can ask far more complex questions than that, but you can see this is the using AI assistant within this pane to get answers. So you have a total of 10 agent runs recorded. These runs are occurred on November 26th with no activity on the surroundings day as shown by the agent. And yeah, that's great. Perfect. So here are the monitor and evaluation. You can have automatic evaluation. You can create it here. or you can have human evaluations as well, like you can create a description, groundness, fluency, name, and so on. All right, let's continue. So the workflows, as I mentioned, this is a new concept here. So I have already created one, but to create one, let me close this. I can come here, create. So I can start from scratch, or I can have a sequential. This is basically, a deterministic workflow like you would have in agentic flow, from step to step. So there is no syncing actually. It's like this happens and that leads to other event. So you can have in the human in the loop. So anytime it generates something, it would have requests for the human to provide feedback, and group chat. Group chat is very interesting. So this is like multiple agents, and the orchestrator would decide which agent needs to be invoked, etc. So the similar concept we have in Copilot Studio. We have a generative orchestration, and we have a different agents under the one hood, and it would invoke right agent. So I will start with sequential. So when you start, so you get this kind of view. So you have new mode, add a node, hide node. So you can actually hide nodes, but I found like in your diagram, this would be helpful for others to better understand your process. And the interesting part here, so you can say like this is now manually started, but I want like autonomous capabilities. I can just click these three dots and create a trigger. That will take me to Azure portal, and from here I can basically create a resource for logic app and create a trigger within that, like create a logic app, so select the hosting option, etc. So looks like we can trigger the agent from logic apps. So when it comes to, let me actually hide nodes. When it comes to this view, we can make this like a hierarchy, vertical, like top down, and we can just have this horizontal. Visualizer helps us to select the key components and add here. We can have YAML. We can add the components here. Yeah, writing code, or we can have a code here as well. Like this is Python code, and you can open this in VS Code. Let's go back to visualizer. So here I can select edit, and I can select my agent. I have this agent like AI exam agent, and I can have input message, system, last message. So this looks like activity text in Copilot Studio. There are so many similarities I found, and yeah, here are the details. You can actually edit that from here. You can see the details of that agent, which is really great. So basically, in one workflow you can have multiple agents invoking one another. So let's say we're done with this. Another agent would be, let's see, exam planner agent, last message, and we can create a, let's say, last message. Done. I don't need this one, so I'm gonna delete this. We can add like invoke agent. We already have data transformation. We can set variables like a new variable, reset variable, parse value. We can have a flow like if else for each, go to like different agent, etc. And basics would be send message, ask question, and end. Let me add ask a question. Do you still need help? So here it's very interesting. Let's say if I type system, we can see system activity, system bot. All this information is very familiar to us from Copilot. But the other familiar thing here is power. Let me type power fx formula, which is a local language for Power Platform. So I will say we will be able to use this. And here, expected inputs type string, save user response, let's say last message, and next action. I'm gonna not, we will have if else, done, and if else condition, if true, do this, if else, do something else. So I'm gonna add if it is true, let's just close this with message. Thank you. Done. So we need to save first. Test, save, and let me hide notes again. Let's actually use this view. And now if I click preview, I need to provide input. What are the resources for AI 102? So you can see here, this is a dynamic planning. So we would see that in Copilot Studio as well. So basically, one agent finished his job, then invoked other agent. That agent also finished its job. Now it's waiting for me. Do you still need help? So I can say yes. Then if I say yes, anyway, if I say yes, that would just trigger the last message. You can publish as workflow, and you can publish to Microsoft 365 Copilot and Teams. So here you need to create a bot services, create bot services. For somehow it fails for me, but you like this similar way you would publish agent like name, short description, full description, developer name, etc. So the scope would be shared scope. Your workflow will be available to users across your organization and can be discovered in the Teams App Store. And organization tenant scope. So you can do that as well, but the tenant scope would require admin approval. Let's close this. And now if I go back to workflows, so you will see I have another workflow and I can open that, and same way I can see traces like how many rounds completed successfully. We can have evaluations. I don't have evaluation, but we can create one, and we can have like different dashboard tiles to see like operational metrics, like how many token used, etc. And by the way, we can also connect this to application insights as well. So it's really, I would say, easy to create. I'm sure we will have far more complex use cases. And from here, from the model section, we can add different AI models to our project. And when we start developing agents, we can select those available models and AI services. For some reason, I don't see all the AI services like let's say Azure Vision. So I don't see all of them. So and here are the batch jobs. If you want, you can create a batch job. So drag and drop file here. So fine tune, I'm not going to do any fine tuning. And tools here, you can have different tools here connected. So in fact, if I go to operate, so in the operation area, the operate section, I don't have any active alerts. So here, 14 agents, all of them runs. Estimated cost shows 0, total token usage. And from here, I can select specific projects. Let's see, Project Suka. Okay. I have 7 agents, view all agents, and you can see all of them here. So, and if I go to assets, I can look at the tools here. So one tool I had here was Logic App, send an email. For somehow I couldn't connect it, but I will work on that, and if I have any update, I will share with you. Compliance, and if you have any compliance policies, you will be able to see it here, or you can create a policy here. From here, admin has a great capabilities, so they can review each project, and they can also delete the project that they want. So there are more to explore, but if you go to docs section, you will be able to see all this documentation here, and you don't have to leave Foundry. So this is it. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments section. And also, if I miss anything, please let me know. I would happily, explore them more. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.